Hello there, everyone. This is Draven Taylor, and I'm going to be hitting a few videos now. It's going to be about 3 of them, kind of covering different things in reference to mods. And I'm not going to give you the official Wargaming stance on this. I'm going to give you my interpretation of that. I'm going to give you the 3 base categories of mods, when it comes to a game. And I did break them down here at the bottom, and I'll explain them. And also, this is coming from somebody who's a programmer. And also, well, I got a double major. I got programming, computer science and English. And yes, I do get myself tongue-tied sometimes too, which is really ironic with the degree that I have. But I want to focus on this because I get people that are on my stream that will comment, well, you shouldn't be using mods. You're going to get yourself in trouble. I'm going to report you. The reason why is the wording that Wargaming uses. It's very ambiguous, and it's not their fault. And the problem with the mods is in the do's and the don'ts for most games, especially like World of Warships, World of Tanks, games like that, there's a really fine line on what gaming companies could allow and what they shouldn't allow. So Wargaming's got 2 options with this. One is to ban all mods that are in there, and the other option in this is to allow certain types of mods and ban others. And so I'm going to break down what these 3 categories are, and just to give you an understanding why they allow certain ones and why they don't allow certain ones, and kind of a rule of thumb that I do when it comes to tracking down if the person's legit or if they're just a sham. Okay, the first thing with this, mods, are they allowed with Wargaming? If you go to the actual forum on World of Warships, they actually have, quote, official mods, Wargaming mods. They haven't been updated in a long time, but you'll see that there's about 4 to 5 people here that put up mods on a regular basis for each one of the releases. When they do that, and they're involved in the forum, and and they got such a heavy influence in this, and I'm going to name the one that I use, Aslan. Aslan's very, very involved with Wargaming. He's involved with the forum, and he does throw up the mods, and he updates his mods in between each one of the updates. So with his level of involvement in this, it kind of lends a validity there because they haven't squelched him, and he's been doing this for a long, long, long time. I mean, I think he's got like a few million posts just in the forum alone, including, I think, in his mod thread. So it kind of gives you an idea right there that, the fact that they haven't, quote, disciplined him lends validity in this. So on that standing, plus he's got really good standing with Wargaming from what I've seen in the forum. The second point in this is we got to break down, there's actually 3 really basic categories when it comes to mods. And I do have to tip my hat to the people that do mods for like Wargaming games, ones that are more update driven, and they don't do a massive, they don't encapsulate it. And what I mean by that, you'll hear people sit there and they say, well, Wargaming is an arcade game. No, it's a simulator. No, it's an arcade game. It's really not either. And the reason with this is if it was a simulator, everything would be focused on realism and not so much on entertainment. A traditional arcade game is technically what Wargaming is, but arcade games are episodic, like Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 4. And yes, Wargaming does do like, you go from 0.05, 0.06, 0.07, but the difference in this is that with like Mortal Kombat X, they add a bunch of DLCs or downloadable content. They add more to it, but then it's done. You don't just keep Mortal Kombat 10 and expect it to transition into Mortal Kombat 11. You got to buy Mortal Kombat 11. It's an entirely different program. So that's where Wargaming stands different than the traditional arcade game. The ones that would probably fit this, probably the best one would be like EverQuest, World of Warcraft, where they still have some level. They do expansions, but they keep a very stable environment. They don't change it. When you run into that, you're going to run into some other things, and I'm going to kind of cover one of the trials and errors in this with mods before I start hitting the 3 categories in this. With mods themselves, when you have a game like Wargaming and it's consistently adding updates, it's taking things away from the game, it's adding more to there. And I do have to give Wargaming massive, massive kudos with this. Most other companies couldn't do what they've been able to do for as long as they've been able to do it, because you get what's called data degradation. And what that is that when you're pulling stuff in and out of the program, you run into the risk of actually corrupting either place markers when it comes to the variables going from one part of the program to the other. So it's a transitioning from preloaded environments, and you see this like when you go to the port and you're going into the game. It'll transition into the queue, and then it transitions into the load screen, and then it transitions into the game. There's certain variables like what your account name is, what your ship type is, your specs of your ship. All these are variables that have to be carried from the port to each one of these transition screens. When you have a game like this, it's constantly evolving, and they don't force you just to re-download a new version. You get what's called data degradation, which I had already mentioned, and what that is that those variables can actually get lost from transition to transition. And that's where you get sometimes where it'll kick you out to the login, or you get memory leaks where the RAM just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There's other factors that can play in it, but that's usually the big one. When you add mods into this, it adds a new factor that can either complement it, or it can actually destabilize the game even more. And so the 3 videos I'm going to be doing, this one, we're going to cover the different types of mods, and I'm going to kind of give you guys an understanding of the real basics for Wargaming so that you can understand how mods apply. And when you start slamming the finger at other people, you'll actually be at least a little educated with this. And I'm not slamming anybody in this, because I'm guilty at too, getting upset with people that I know that are using aimbots. But the second one, I will show you how to install Aslan, and the third video in this, I'm actually going to show you my settings, just so that way it's stable for me. I do this by trial by error, and hopefully, those settings will help you out if you want to be able to play like I do in my stream on my other channel. Now let's hit the 3 categories, and then I'll actually, let's hit the 3 categories, and then I'll explain how this works with the mods. Okay, the first one, which I have a cute little star next to, is called Enhancing Game Options. Okay, Wargaming says anything that changes our code is a major no-no, and we won't allow it. The problem with this is that they also have in other parts of the forum where they show you how to change the code, either by a program like an application or an executable, or where you can actually plug in code into the XML pages, that are within the game. They're the scripting pages within the game itself. So it sounds like an oxymoron. It sounds contradictory. Well, again, this is where, like I said, there's a real fine line in this. The fine line in this is the first 2 fit on the okay side, and that's been consistent with all the mods that they don't seem to have a major issue with. So number 1 is enhancing game options. Now what this is like, if you watch when I play, I got the little health bars on the sides, or like if I look at the ships, it'll show my premium ships in gold, or it shows, it's different graphical things. The fact that the tracers shoot, and you can see the rounds coming down and hitting. These are all options that are already in the game. They don't affect your you being able to be more effective at shooting, being more effective at dodging. I mean, they enhance what's already there. What I mean by this, like with the tracers. Okay, you got tracers flying across the sky. Well, they have a unique commander, Yamato, that's actually got the same tracers. It's a functionality in the game. The fact that you can use like Aslan to enable replays. It's just plugging in a little bit of code within one of the XML files in the game. It doesn't change your actual gameplay. It enhances the aesthetics. Me, with the commanders, I use female anime characters, which are actually part of Aslan. I think they look cooler. That's just me. I like the actual photos for the loading screens for the maps. That's just me. I think they look really cool, really crisp, and they look very vibrant. And it's just a personal preference. A lot of these, you'll notice that they're not tied into Wargaming in terms of you being able to normally use. But as time progresses, Wargaming's been taking the more popular ones from the mods, and they integrate it into the game. Perfect example is the damage, your damage counter during the game. That originally was not in Wargaming. Well, it wasn't an option that you had, but it was in Wargaming. So Aslan just made it where it actually showed up on your screen. Wargaming was impressed with this, and so they eventually adopted it over because people liked it. So it's changing aesthetics in the game, presenting existing options in the game to be able to make it more fun. And these are things that will more than likely either be added by Wargaming or they'll just stay in the mods. They're an option at that point. There were somebody else is exploring other avenues in this that don't change the gameplay. They don't change anything in reference to how you play the game. They just help with the aesthetics. The second one, and this is kind of a big one. I got in trouble with one of my videos when I was able to monetize them because of adding third-party graphics and sounds. One of the animes, it's an Aslan, they don't like you using it and monetizing it, which is totally understandable because it's their own intellectual property. It's part of the copyright laws for the U.S. as well as international copyright laws, and that's totally fine. Some animation companies will encourage you to use them. Some they don't want you to. Take it with a grain of salt. If you're looking at doing stuff that's going to leap out and be unique and be really cool in that's where adding the third-party graphics and sounds. So you can use like the ARP commanders. You can, they have like Dasha in there for like the sounds. Duke Nuke'em, Family Guy, Star Wars. And with the graphics, you can get stuff from High School Fleet, ARP, My Little Pony. There's a whole bunch of others. These right here are tied to the mod. They are not tied to Wargaming. Wargaming's not claiming ownership to any form or fashion in anything in mods. I know that for a fact just because of their articles of indemnity, or that's which is not them. That's standard for any corporation. It's just being a smart business. But that's one of the things with mods they don't frown on. I don't think that they're going to allow well, I won't say what they will or won't allow because I don't know. I don't own Wargaming. But I do know that in terms of like community contributors or promoting the game or whatever else. But they haven't frowned on those type of mods. They haven't banned people from having My Little Pony on there. Or, I think as long as it's not bigoted, racist, or anything like that, I don't think they care. Now we get into the other side of this really, really fine line. The mods that from what I've seen, I know Wargaming doesn't like. Me personally, I think that it's cheating. I think people that are doing this are making, they break the game for other people in terms of making it unfair. I like taking these people on because if they don't know how to play the game, it's a really, really fun game. It's a real fun way to wreck them if you keep the conditions in your favor. But still, sorry, frog. Still, they're able to do things that in the game shouldn't be possible. So in this third category, this does alter the code, just like number 1 does, just like number 2 does, but it's not doing it for aesthetics. It's not doing it for viewability or to make it more fun to play in terms of, wow, I got little health bars on the side that are showing health that I can normally see, but it's right there. Or, My Little Pony or the Star Wars sound effects. What number 3 does in this is it shows you where to shoot in the map to get Citadel hits. It shows you where to shoot to get guaranteed hits. It shows you where to shoot your torpedoes to get detonations or guaranteed hits. It also shows you where to move to dodge torpedoes, even if you don't see them. It'll also show you where to move to dodge getting hit. The most popular one amongst these is Warpack. And what these do, they're called aimbots. And a lot of people don't like them. It's a really, really good way to lose your fan base. And World of Warships has actually done a really, really good job at catching people with this, but people still use them. This is not Wargaming's fault, and I will explain why. And I'm explaining this as, again, somebody that does programming, somebody that owns their own business, and somebody that deals with the copyright laws, because I work in the music industry. So this is one aspect that I do know quite a bit about. When you see somebody using an aimbot, the best thing you do is send a support ticket to Wargaming, let them know. This is the guy's name. I think the guy's cheating. And, they may, mods are in favor. They'll investigate it. But they're going to kind of hit a brick wall in this. And this has nothing to do with them. It's not their intellect. It's not what their resources are. It's just because of the law. In this happy little picture, and this is where I'm hitting this, I'm going to break down the way that the game works, and in a really, really simple fashion, because I think there's certain trade secrets in this Wargaming should be allowed to keep behind the curtains, but I think that you guys need to know how this works in a really, really simple fashion so that you're not slamming Wargaming for a lot of this, because their hands are tied in certain respects. Whenever you do a mod, it has nothing. This right here is our happy little server. That's why I put Wargaming up here. On the right side, we have the players, and that's your cute little laptop, your notes, your coffee, your phone, and you're abusing other people. Okay. When you install a mod, it has nothing to do with the servers. It not directly. When you install the mod, it doesn't do anything to the servers themselves. What it does is that when you're playing the game, you download the program, World of Warships, World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, and then you install it on your computer, and then it does all the updates, and this could take half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on what your internet connection is, and also because of the way that they've got the downloads, how many seeders you have, because they do a peer-to-peer for the updates. Now, the program that's on your computer is what's called an emulator. And what I mean by an emulator is it's an interface program to be able to access the game that's on the World of Warships server. The emulator also works on syncing with the Wargaming servers, and it does it so that this way you're not playing one-on-one, but you have the capability of having real-life playing in matches with multiple people on the respective servers. In the U.S., they've got technically 3 server clusters, and their whole system coordinates all 3 of these to work and play with each other, and to help it so that players can play anywhere in the U.S., or if they're outside of the U.S., or North America, I guess I should say, that it can actually coordinate them to be able to play effectively with people and not devastate the game with ping, because you usually want to have low ping and high frame rate. Frame rate's how many frames you see per second. The ping is how good the connection is. So if you're getting like 20 ping, 30 ping, it's that much better. But all this, on your experience, is being ran on your computer. When you're playing the game, it's being fed information by Wargaming, and it goes straight to your computer, and then the emulator translates everything, and it makes it so you're seeing what you're doing. Then when you're running like you're shooting your guns, you're doing speed boost, you're dropping smoke, all that's output that you're doing that goes to the server, and then it coordinates it to show it to everyone else. So with number 1 and number 2, it changes everything in the emulator based on the data that's actually in the game itself. So that when the data is coming from the servers and it's going there, it translates it to make it look more appealing to you. But it has no impact on what's going back to the server. The server just sees it just what the regular emulator does. So, you see tracers, you see big energy explosions when the torpedoes hit. You hear cool sound effects. That's only on your laptop. It has no bearing in Wargaming. It doesn't alter your stats. It doesn't alter anything that's actually showing up on the servers. Number 3 actually alters the emulator, but it does it differently. What it's doing is, with number 1 and number 2, when the data is going into the World of Warships program on your computer, it shows only what you're allowed to see, that the program itself allows based on Wargaming. And the rest of the stuff is just the numbers, the variables that are being ground for you to be able to play the game. Number 3 actually takes the data coming from the server, and it doesn't limit it. So it's actually showing you information that's supposed to be going through the compiler, and it's actually showing you on the screen, such as where to shoot for for citadel hits. Little things like that. This is stuff behind the curtain that you're not supposed to see. And it makes it where you've got a massive edge over anybody else that's in the game. And, the problem with this is it has an impact on your gameplay, which means it technically alters the data going back to the servers. So that right there is where the big problem is in terms of number 3. Now, the problem that Wargaming has in cracking down on this is they can see everything on their server. They can see what's going on there. But they can't go to your laptop and see what's going on your laptop, because in the U.S. and in most other countries, in the U.S. it's called the Privacy Act. And in other countries they have related laws to this. And there's also international laws that protect individuals, so that people can't get into your computer and steal your credit card information. So they can't go into your cookies and do research on your buying practices, or finding out what books you check out from there, or buy stuff from eBay or Amazon. All that's on your computer, and these laws protect it so that people can't legally get into your laptop. Well, these same laws prevent wargaming from going into the program and seeing what people are and are not doing. So when you sit there and you file a complaint against somebody, sitting there saying, well, this guy's using Warpack, or you're accusing Wargaming. Wargaming can't see what everybody's doing on their laptop. And that's not because they don't care about what you guys feel, or they don't care about what's going on in the game or the integrity of the game. It's because ethically it's wrong. And just like it's wrong to cheat in the game, it's ethically wrong for them to get on people's computers and to monitor them. But also legally it's wrong. They would, if they got caught doing that, they'd be facing so many flipping lawsuits. So don't slam Wargaming on this. If somebody's using an aimbot, mention it to Wargaming. They have some insanely good programmers. They might be able to pick up on this. And they have picked up on a few people that are using aimbots. And they do, people like that, they get banned. Either their account gets temporarily suspended, permanently suspended, or I'm sure that they ban the IP address. But they do what they can in this, and I will say that if anything, rather than slamming them, we should be giving them praise, because this game's been around for a while now, and it hasn't gone the way of the dodo. And what I mean by that is it's not very hard to get a few people that will sit there, find a way to get around, manipulate the data coming into the emulator, the program on your laptop, and use it to manipulate the game and abuse the game. And some people do. It's pretty obvious when you see somebody with 8 kills in a match, 8 kills and a kill to death ratio, or 10 kills, either they're the 0.001% skilled in this, and they're insanely gifted, or they're cheating. And, it happens. I mean, there's metrics in this that you can catch on to stuff like that. You can tell when somebody's using Warpack, because their approach to the game's at one point, and then when Warpack kicks in, you'll see a massive spike in their stats. Wargaming's doing what they can, I know that, but this is where my recommendation with this: if you're going to use mods, use ones that will enhance the game for your viewing pleasure and for your experience in the game, or that will add like third-party graphics, like I said, My Little Pony, Star Wars, Duke Nuke'em, stuff like that. Or you can hear the sexy voice of Dasha speaking in Russian instead of your commander. But just don't do number 3 in this. Don't do stuff that's going to help you play the game better than you should. It's better to learn by experience. It's better to actually work with other people, because when you actually start asking other people questions, how do I do this in this ship? How can I play this better? Not only does it help you learn, but it gets you more involved with the community. And, Wargaming's got the forum, they got the website, they got clans, they used to have team battles. All this is driven towards having a community experience. And that's where 1 and 2 make it more fun for you, but you still got to interact with people and you got to progress in the game. When I was learning how to aim with my guns, I asked somebody, what's the trick with this? And they told me, you just got to practice. You got to practice some more, and practice even more. And eventually you'll get a hang for the guns. You'll actually understand ship to ship how they play a little bit differently, the nuances in them. If you're doing Warpack, you don't need to worry about that. It's just aim and click, aim and click, aim and click. And you're going to be vaping everyone. It's cheating. It's not fair. Anybody that's playing this, and that's part of the reason why I don't like playing lower tiers, because it's not fair to the new people. Support the new people. Help them out. Let them learn. Let them become part of the community. Don't cut people out. Don't be an elitist. Don't treat people like crap. And don't cheat. That's my opinion. I hope this has been helpful. I'm not, I'll get off my soapbox. I don't mean to preach. That wasn't my intention, I promise. But be sure to like and subscribe if you liked the video. My next one, I will be showing you how to download, the best way to download Aslans and get through the whole installation process. Now, this sounds insanely easy, but I know a lot of people that have a hard time with it, because they don't realize a couple little tricks with it. And I'll show you that in the next video. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you catch you guys in the happy worlds of either World of Warships or World of Warplanes, and we can have some fun. Take care, everybody.